Coming up today on Rookie already, it's time to start the knockout campaign in the Champions League this season, and hopefully we can get past Juventus over 2 legs. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 81 of Rookie to Royalty here on Shaun Does FM with Jahn Regensburg. I hope you're doing well and coming up today. Got the first knockout round here of the Champions League. Unfortunately, didn't quite make our way straight through to the round of 16. If you missed the episode at the end of last week, covering off that last game against Atletico Madrid, as well as a DFB Pokal quarter-final against Gladbach and a Bundesliga game against Borussia Dortmund, I'll leave a link to that one over in the top right corner. But we have just missed out on making our way through to that round of 16, and our reward is we've got quite a tough tie, unfortunately, against the Juventus team that actually didn't do too badly in the league phase, finishing in 17th. Was kind of hoping we might get someone like Real Sociedad, seeing as our ranking was the second best, but no, we've got quite a big team there, so hopefully can find our way here past Juventus. But just one game played off the back of the episode at the end of last week. It was, of course, in the Bundesliga, and we continue to be pretty poor off the back of the winter break, picking up here a 1-1 draw at Union Berlin. Did concede first here through Marullo, but thankfully from the very next highlight, Lewis Walden picked up an equaliser. Just couldn't quite find a way there to pick up all 3 points. You'll notice too, we eventually did switch here from the 4-2-3-1 to a 4-4-2 diamond, which kind of worked, but not quite as much as I was hoping. So a 1-1 draw there, so some more drop points in the Bundesliga. It does mean now we've dropped all the way down to 7th on the Bundesliga table, and only 5 points clear of that Borussia Dortmund team, who are starting to close that gap quite a bit more than it was at the halfway stage of the season. Of course, before that 1-0 when they picked up at the Jahn Regensburg at the end of last week as well. So unfortunately, it's not going too well for us here at the moment at Jahn Regensburg off the back of the winter break. Fingers crossed here we can turn things around in this Champions League tie against Juventus, who obviously we did a little bit better in the league phase of the Champions League, but league-wise they're not doing awfully. They're down in 7th, which to be fair by Juventus standards is quite poor, especially with some of the players they've got there in their lineup. Dusan Vlahovic still up top. They've got Cole Palmer at left wing, which is interesting. The midfield, it does look quite strong defensively. Not too bad either, not too sure who their goalkeeper is there in Di Gregorios. To be fair, them sitting in 7th in Serie A below teams like Hellas Verona and some others is a bit poor actually, especially being a whole 22 points off Inter Milan, who do look like a bit of a runaway train there over in Serie A, and they're also still doing quite well, it looks like, in the cup there as well. They've made their way through to, it looks like, a first leg semi-final against AC Milan in the Italian Cup. So they're not doing awfully, despite the fact that they currently sit outside of a European qualifying spot for next season. But obviously, it's a big reputation club, this one, that we take on here in our first knockout tie in the Champions League. And it's not made any easier by the fact that, unfortunately, there is a flu that's gone round and it's picked up Batata. He's out with a virus for 2 to 3 days. So unfortunately, he's going to miss our first league here. Should be back in time for the second one back at the Jahn Regensburg. But to be fair, we've got a pretty decent backup these days in Vieira, who will come in, the man that we did sign from Bayern Munich for quite a big fee, seeing as he was homegrown nation and did have a fair bit of potential. So fingers crossed here he can do a job in a Champions League game only, the second one that he'll be starting off the back of that when we picked up against Atletico Madrid, which unfortunately ended up being a little bit of a nothing game. As well as that, got a couple of players on some heavy workloads, but to be fair, condition-wise, we're not too bad for this game. Both our right-backs on a heavy workload. Ballerini looks a little bit better when on a heavy workload. Condition-wise, he's going to stick there despite the fact that he's got a yellow card. That might be an issue if he picks a yellow up here in this first league. But Kanya there, just a little bit more injury-prone. And also at left wing, we do have Alanis coming in there for Fernandes on that heavy workload. So those are a couple of changes that we've made, goalkeeper and left wing. But apart from that, it's our first choice 11 going here with the 4-2-3-1, seeing as apparently that's what should work against this Juventus team. Fingers crossed here can find a way to get it to work. You'll see there the clear-cut chances. The 4-2-3-1 a lot better than the 4-3-3 and the 4-4-2 diamond that we use here at Jahn Regensburg. And also just to try and hopefully change things here with our form off the back of the winter break, we've changed Lucchini's role to an attacking midfielder. Not too sure if we'll leave it for too long, but hopefully it can find him some form on a 6.54, but definitely it's not ideal, seeing as if we switch to the 4-3-3, we need to change that back to an advanced playmaker anyway, seeing as you can't play with an attacking midfielder in that more central position in that 4-3-3, but with the 4-2-3-1, we can use that attacking midfielder. So we'll try that here and see if that might get us going. Also coming in for this game to Decore over Ruslan, who's just starting to stamp his spot there as that first choice like we're hoping for off the back of the transfer window that we did have. So fingers crossed there can find a way to at least take some parity in to the second league back in Germany off the back of this first league over in Turin, and hopefully can find a way to actually maybe pick up a win with that slight change there in central attacking midfield. Not too sure if it's going to work. As I said, honestly, it's really not ideal because of the advanced playmaker. We need to actually keep that for the 4-3-3. So ideally that role would actually work here. We'd be able to pick one that we can use in both systems. That's one of the reasons I do like the advanced playmaker so much, but so far of late, it has not been too good. Lucchini on a 6.5 something average rating. To be fair, Kamara has not been a lot better. So our central attacking midfielders are struggling here currently at Jahn Regensburg. Juventus are going to go with the 4-3-3 as we saw before with that best 11 that did pop up on the club info page. But to be fair, it's a pretty strong team. Hopefully Vieira won't let us down in goal. He's a pretty good backup. Good chance for him here to try and stamp his mark on this team, because to be fair, Batata has been a little bit iffy of late. Maybe it's just the sweeper keeper role. It can be a little bit odd at times here in Football Manager. Maybe we'll be better off going back to a goalkeeper just on defend, but at times that sweeper keeper can get some good counter-attacks going. So I'm hopeful that what we've done here, this one change for this game, it might work. A highlight straight from the kickoff here away from home. We are in the red Juventus, as you'd expect, in the black and white stripes. Unfortunately, do lose the ball there down our right-hand side, but for some reason there Neves lets that ball run. There's all sorts going on here early. Somehow we pick out Villanita down our left-hand side, squares it for Lewis Walden. It's a flyer of a start, only 30 seconds in. We take a 1-0 lead. Not too sure if we can claim too much of that on the switch from an advanced playmaker to an attacking midfielder. And it's a funny old goal. There's lots of stuff happening here off the ball, but Villanita finds himself in space. The Italian who we picked up during that last transfer window, honestly, can't remember exactly who from. Maybe it was Inter Milan, but thankfully a helping hand from him there, and Walden right place, right time to put that one away. So already we've got a 1-0 lead. Maybe just that role change might just make the rest of this team as well as the tactic click a bit more than it has been since the winter break, because sometimes FM can be funny like that, just making sure your tactic just stops working for no apparent reason. But Juventus here are looking very sloppy on the ball. A giveaway, and we make the most of it. Alanis will slot through Rivera, who stays on side only 2 minutes in. We've got a 2-0 lead. Not too sure what's going on here with Juventus. Tamori there with a shocking pass. I think they're looking for Ravella. I'm not too sure who actually did intercept that one. Maybe it was Hawkera, but nonetheless he puts through the Alanis, who plays it through to Rivera, and he picks up an early goal with 2 attacks inside 2 minutes and got a 2-0 lead. So fingers crossed there we might be able to hold on, keeping a big eye here on how Lucchini does go in this new role. So far he's going decently without doing anything too special. As I said, ideally the advanced playmaker, it will work. But to be fair, so far we've got a 2-0 lead. Should probably leave things Lucchini there with a good foot in, and we do win that ball back. Rivera for some reason doesn't try the shot, but nice sharp passing here, and Ballerini makes his way inside the box, tries the shot there, forces a good save out of the Juventus goalkeeper. It goes out for a throw-in. We don't see it, but early stages here, we're all over Juve. This 2-goal lead would be a very, very nice one to take back to Germany if we can hold on. But now Juventus, they are on the attack, but Walden wins that ball back for us. Nice ball forward there. We try and make our way here out from inside of our own half. A pull one there, I think, from Hawkera, though. Thankfully for Lorini, just puts that one wide. Nearly a giveaway like we had down the other end there with Tamori, and the goal that we scored second there through Rivera. But thankfully Juventus, they missed their chance to make that 1-2-1. So a little bit lucky here with some of the stuff that's been happening. But to be fair, our form off the back of the winter break, we kind of need some of this luck to fall our way, just getting there before Alanis to ease off tackles on that yellow card. Unfortunately, just before then, also Cuervo picked up a yellow card, so probably a couple of subs coming at halftime now. A free kick looking for Lucchini at the far post on the attack again. We pick out Alanis inside the box nearly from the penalty spot, but unfortunately, that one's kind of directly at the goalkeeper. But so far, it's been a pretty good first half, albeit Juventus actually stats-wise aren't going too bad, and now they have a set piece which they put in the box. Thankfully, Getty will put that one over the bar, and that will do it for the first half. Very happy with those opening couple of minutes. We've got a 2-0 lead now. Obviously, going to take off the players here who are on yellow cards. And also, I'm not sold on Lucchini and that attacking midfield role. So Pevicic here will come on for Cuervo. Also, it'll be Quintana at left wing for Alanis, saying as he can do a job there. And Fernandez is on a heavy workload. And also, it might be a terrible idea this, but we'll switch Lucchini back, the advanced playmaker, because I just like it more, as I said. With the 4-3-3 as well, it's less disruptive. The two different roles, if we just have one in between those two systems as well as the 4-4-2. So all three systems do use that advanced playmaker, so a lot easier if we just leave that. But to be fair, the first half, it did go quite well as Pevicic picks up a yellow card there inside a minute of coming on the field, which is just great. And unfortunately, Juventus here with the first highlight of the second half. They put that one near post. They eventually get it out there to Cole Palmer, runs onto it nicely and puts it bottom left corner. We might switch Lucchini back here because maybe that was a really dumb idea. But unfortunately, Juventus, they do strike back here early in the second half. To be fair, first half, stats-wise, they weren't too bad. But unfortunately, just do enough there through Bellanova to get that ball at the near post. And Cole Palmer runs onto it and grabs a goal back. Stats-wise, they definitely deserved of a goal in this game. And now a free kick here, which thankfully we somewhat deal with. Some absolute ping pong there inside the box. We don't deal with it. And Luca Florini will put that away apparently for his 50th goal for the club. And just like us in the first half, they've come to the sheds here on absolute fire and they equalise. So unfortunately, pretty botley here early in the second half. That's very fortunate there. Tamori with a header forward. If we don't clear it well enough, and they put that one away there through Florini and make it 2-2. And stats-wise, now they look like pretty good value to actually win this game as well. We'll take off here on a red heart Villaney. That's beginning to be fair. He's been really good so far in this game, his Villaney. And also, Ruslan can come on there for Pevicic, who has got that yellow card and not looking too hot. We'll switch him there with Decore and see if that might be better with our centre-backs, because so far that change has not worked too well. Most of those we made at half-time, because really poor here so far in the second half. And now, with 20 minutes left, it's Hawkera, who drops down to a red heart. Also Walden and Lucchini, but I think Salah's coming on there for Hawkera might be the best idea. We'll just leave things apart from that as it is for the moment, but definitely not too impressed here with the second half, especially off the back of putting old Lucchini back and then attacking midfielder. Roll a chance there for Juventus from a free kick, but thankfully Mingueza there to go offside. But definitely a bit of a switch in momentum here from half-time in this game. Juventus all of a sudden are all over us. But to be fair, locked up at 2-2, don't think we'd mind that going back to Germany for that second leg. Fingers crossed here we can hold on and at least take a drawback to that second leg, which will be coming up pretty shortly in this episode. But unfortunately, we've just made our way here into 5 minutes of added time. Juventus, they do have a throw and they put that one far post there through Cole Palmer, and Bradley Barcola will put that one away. That is a big old bottle job from us here in the second half. We only did one change, and it wasn't even for that long in the attacking midfield area, and for some reason, it's our defence, which is absolutely crumbled. We've gone 3-2 down. We'll try and go attacking here late, but that's just way too late. That start to the game, an absolute ripper. 2 goals there inside of the first 2 minutes, but from there, Juventus, they did get on the front foot in the second half especially. We couldn't do anything to stop them. They were just well and truly on the front foot. Maybe a big tailwind there in Turin for that game, because it certainly was one of 2 halves. We blow a 2-0 lead and now are a goal down going into the second leg back in Germany. So hopefully can maybe find some confidence in the derby when I take on Augsburg off camera. That's certainly hopeful, because our form of late has not been very good. That result included off the back of the winter break. A bit filthy on that one though. That 2-0 lead we picked up early, I was thinking everything was coming up Millhouse, but no, we've bowled that big time there in the second half. You have to turn things around in the second leg off the back of that 3-2 defeat. And here are the highlights from our derby against Augsburg that I played before the second leg here against Juventus. Went for the diamond for this game, and thankfully it did pay off. Kamara there did quite well in the advanced playmaker role, so maybe it's just a Lucchini issue there in that role recently. And thankfully we do pick up a 1-0 win thanks to that strike there at the 15-minute mark. You can see there stats-wise, a very dominant performance. So thankfully going there with something a bit different in the diamond, it did pay off, and hopefully that's some confidence we can take in to the second leg when we take on Juventus, and also we jump back above RB Leipzig into 6th spot on the Bundesliga. So I think that might be a Europa League qualifying spot for next season. That might be a little bit of a fun competition, nice little middle there in between the Champions League and the Conference League. That could suit us. But next up, we've got the second leg here against Juventus. We are going to stick here with the 4-2-3-1 because still our analyst does recommend it, but you'll see it there. A lot of changes picking for this game based on form. So first up, Kamara comes in off the back of that match winner he picked up there in the derby. And going back to the advanced playmaker, I don't think it made too much difference in that previous game, at least in terms of Lucchini's rank, and also a lot of other changes. Patata comes back in there in goal. We've got Vakanya over Ballerini, Ruslan and Stefan Pavicic there at centre back. They look like the best two that we do have, especially in terms of aerial threats. Unfortunately, Decore as well as Cuervo, despite their height, not doing too well from set pieces. Hopefully these two might be difference makers. Hansen, our wonder-kid left back, actually going to get a run there in this Champions League game because his average rating a lot better than both Henning as well as Villani. You'll see there he's on a heavy workload, so going to give here one of our other left backs a run. Also Cuervo is actually suspended for that game. That's why we made that change. Was wondering there for a little while why Pavicic was getting a run, and also Ruslan on a 6.58, but to be fair, he is very dangerous from set piece. Also the Rosa comes in there over Jimenez because of form. We've got Salas there over Horkera, Lazar over Walden, obviously Kamara over Lucchini, and Rene Muller, back from a flu that he was carrying a little while ago, is in there at striker. His form will a little bit better than Rivera. So going here with form over reputation and star rating as well as attributes. So not too sure if this is going to work, but hopefully it might pay off here and we can turn around this 1-goal deficit. Not too sure why some teams are only now playing the first leg of their ties. That actually would have been quite useful, a bit of an extra gap there before we got stuck into this first round of the Champions League knockouts. For some reason, Tottenham are one of the teams to get the benefit of that. Maybe Daniel Levy has got some deep pockets in the save, albeit now I say that out loud. That's highly unlikely. It's Daniel Levy. So yeah, we'll move on from that, but hopefully can find a way here with this rotation to pick up a result. I say rotation, they're the form players at the club currently. Let's hope this pays off, but definitely a bit of a gamble. We'll tell the guys here that we want revenge over Juventus for that first leg where we did bottle things badly. Partially might have been me with that switch back to the advanced playmaker, but to be fair, it wasn't for that long, only about 5 minutes, and Juventus were still on top of us there quite late in the first half as well. But fingers crossed here can turn this round in front of our home fans and actually see where this is played. Doesn't look like it's our usual Jahn Regensburg, but Juventus are sticking with the 4-3-3 and a pretty similar team as well. No surprises off the back of that big turnaround from that first leg. Fingers crossed this time there's no big tailwind, because that seems like the only logical reason that things did turn around so much in that second half in terms of the scoreline. First half all over the Juventus, especially those first 10 minutes, but then it went to absolute poop off the back of half time and a couple of subs that we made there in particular in our defence. But early stages here, we have the ball, but poorly from La Rosa, and it is Juventus here on the attack early. Florini goes looking for his second goal in the tie, but thankfully Patata coming back and comes up there with a big save, but that is a bit of a dangerous start. La Rosa a bit hairy there early on in that ball-wing midfield role. Thankfully can deal with the danger there from that set piece. We give away a foul again through La Rosa. I'm actually going to see here the free kick as well. Not too sure who's on this, and also a lot of players there and behind our wall on that left-hand side. Fingers crossed here they don't take it short, and thankfully they're a bit dumb. They don't try trick play there, which honestly probably would have worked in FM24, but early stages here it's Juventus, the away team, on the front, but it's kind of continuing from that end to that previous leg, so that is not ideal. La Rosa is looking very, very dangerous for us here on the ball, and not in a good way, albeit this time in a bit of space. Can pick out the Rosnes Hansen down our left-hand side. Let's see what the young Norwegian wonder can do. Nice ball in there for Rene Muller, but can't keep it down really. Want an early goal in this one, get things back level at 3-3, but unfortunately can't quite hit the target, and now it's a throw in here for Juventus. This time some nice work from La Rosa on the defensive end. Salas though, a poor pass and we give the ball away there. Thankfully, though, Rosnes Hansen with some good work at left back. So fingers crossed here can find our way out from the back. LaRosa, another pretty average pass, but thankfully makes up for it there. And now we might get on the attack. Lazar gets taken out there, but thankfully keeps his feet and can get the ball back, squeeze it nicely for Adama. Kamara definitely going a lot better than Fabrizio Lucchini in that advanced playmaker role. Maybe it's just the personnel and not the actual tactic. And we make it 1-0 just 15 minutes in. That's exactly what we're after. So thankfully, we've found a way here to grab a lead on the day and equalise this tie overall. Let's hope now that we can actually find a way to take the lead out. Right, Lazar there from a short free kick goes looking for the top right corner, but can't quite keep it down. So all of a sudden, feels like off the back of that hot start that Juventus have had, it's just like the first leg, but this time the other way around. Let's hope we can now put the foot down like we did in that first leg, and just like Juventus did off the back of the hot start we did have in that game in Turin, and we can find a way here to grab a winner and make our way through to the round of 16. Not that I'm too sure would advance that much further the way we've been playing of late here with this Jahn Regensburg team, but unfortunately Juventus here with a highlight just before halftime. We do force them to go all the way back there to the goalkeeper. Ravella will switch that there to Mori, and they actually now find some space here through Barcola down the left-hand side for Kanya there. Gets done, but thankfully recovers quite well there with a tackle, and Lazar will pump that one deep. But unfortunately, Muller, I suspect, was offside for some reason, didn't challenge for that ball, but Lazar makes up for it there by winning that ball back for us. Let's see if he can pick out Muller inside the box. He can, but his shot, it does get blocked. So unfortunately, going to create some chances now, but only the one goal here in this first half. But it's not too bad. We're locked up at 3-all. We'll take off here Muller, the only player out there who's sucking big time on a 6.3. So Rivera can come on for him. I'm just debating if maybe putting LaRosa a bit further back might not be the worst idea. He's been a bit rocks and diamonds in that first half, but let's hope that we continue to actually do decently here with the 4-2-3-1, which has been so good for us here at Jahn Regensburg, this modified version of our Buxton base from the first club we did have here in the save, and we can find a way just grab one more goal because it feels like the momentum might be swinging in our favour off the back of that shocking second half from that first leg. But eventually a highlight here, and it is a corner to Juventus. Ravella will put that one to the mix. So thankfully we headed away, but Cole Palmer there with a shot. Thankfully Batata there comes up with a good save. It's aerial ping pong though. He comes out, doesn't jump for it, and Florini can hit it over our useless goalkeeper and make it 1-all. So unfortunately, a bit of poor goalkeeping off the back there of the good save from the Palmer shot. Fair play there, but really, those are a couple of balls there that both our defence or our goalkeeper, they should be dealing with. They don't, and they put that one away there through Florini and make it 1-all on the day, 4-3 on aggregate. Now a corner here in our favour, which unfortunately Ruslan can't keep down. Was hoping there we might get some justice through that highlight, and we don't. We'll make a sub here. LaRosa has been pretty rocks and diamonds, as you've seen throughout this game, so Jimenez can come on him. We'll even pull him a bit further back and see if that might be a difference maker. And also, Alanis can come on there for Fernandez, who is going a bit fairly as well. So let's hope that these subs might make a difference and help us grab an equaliser and maybe take this one into extra time. A highlight here before those subs, they can go through, and Fernandez actually with a good foot in it. We get the ball back there off the back of a tackle on Rivera, but he blasts that shot wide, so that won't keep him on the field. Alanis as well as Jimenez, they can come on, but now it's a free kick here for Juventus in a dangerous situation. If they score this one, they get a 2-goal lead. We're in all sorts of trouble, and thankfully that one comes off the woodwork. Not too sure there if Batata did get a touch, but it's not going too well. I think here we'll put Jimenez back a bit further forward because the highlights are not improving that much off the back of that switch that we made, and they might not continue to, because now Juventus here with a free kick, and Quasar plays it over the top there for 2-run. Thankfully, that hit is deep enough, but Batata can actually come out and do something decent, unlike what he did for that goal that we did concede. Do feel like he isn't actually that good in the air, even though his attributes are not that bad for that sweeper keeper role. Maybe need to change that, as I said before, to a goalkeeper on defend. But now we've got the ball back here, hopefully can launch an attack and try and level things up here with only 20 or so minutes left here in this tie. We at least need an equaliser to take this to extra time. Lazar here, nice through ball for Rivera, who puts that one away. I'm pretty sure he stayed on side, so that might be the equaliser that we needed with about 22 minutes left here in this tie, but unfortunately, he did actually stray offside. It gets ruled out. Some nice work here down our right-hand side. Near Lazar with the through ball. He's just a toe offside, so unfortunately, it won't count that one, and we are still needing to pull something out here late on in this game. And off the back of that, there's a highlight, and unfortunately, it is to Juventus. A throw in here near the halfway line at the moment. They're keeping the ball quite well. We're trying to press them here. It's not working, and Florini does get in behind, tries to curve that one into the bottom right corner. Thankfully, Batala there comes up with a decent save, but Salas drops down to a red heart, so Hokira can come on for him to be here. Our bench for this game should be quite strong with the players that we did drop because of form, but unfortunately, it's not really working like I was hoping it would. Unfortunately, give away another corner, but we don't see it to be fierce. Not too bad of work there from our boys at the back, but now with only 15 or so minutes left here in this game, I might actually try a lower tempo because our shots to shots on target ratio is pretty poor, so maybe a lower tempo that might pay off. And also, hopefully, before this highlight goes through, our final sub, Ballerini, can come on there at right back. A free kick, which Batala's forced there into a decent save from that sub, does go through. Unfortunately, Juventus, we still see this corner. Pevicic heads it away, but not too well. Ravello, though, Kamara blocks that pass, but they still keep the ball here quite luckily, do the Italian outfit. So unfortunately, the luck here in the save at the moment doesn't seem to be falling on our side. Eventually, that highlight does come to an end, but now, with only about 8 minutes left, I do think we need to up our tempo, be more expressive, and get our goalkeeper to distribute quickly. And also, while we hear some more positive roles as well, let's chuck the guys on support onto attack, and we'll chuck Jimenez onto support as well. Let's hope that that might make a difference as we make our way deep here into this tie. Currently, that shocking second half there in Turin is going to prove costly, and Juventus are back here on the attack. Cabasso will cut inside. Poor pass there though. Hokira with the interception. He'll pick out Rivera, fingers crossed here. He can hit the target, but that shot is from a mile out, and it's so far over, it looked like a conversion in a rugby game. So an absolute shocker there from our Mexican striker. Not even too sure if he knows what rugby is, but off the back of that, we will switch here to the 4-1-4-1, which did sometimes work in case of emergency back at Buxton. Let's see if that might just do something weird and actually take this game into extra time. But unfortunately, only 4 minutes there of added time. That second half bottle job there at Juventus is the costly one, as well as the fact we only got 2 shots on target there, despite getting more overall in that home leg. But a 1-1 draw off the back of blowing that 2-0 lead in that first leg and losing 3-2. That's what proves costly. We go down 4-3 there on aggregate in the first knockout round of the Champions League. And that's our European campaign done a lot sooner than I was hoping, as I said, but disappointed that we got Juventus. Would quite like someone like Real Sociedad, given the history so far in this save, and I thought that'd be quite beatable. But unfortunately, we get done there by Juventus. That big second half bottle job in the first leg, it proves costly as we go down 4-3. So unfortunately, that's our European campaign for this season now done and dusted here at Jahn Regensburg. Off the back of that poor second half in the first leg at Juventus. Not awful there back at home, trying to pick our players on form, but couldn't quite pick up a win. So we get defeated there 4-3. And of course, at the end of last week too, we got knocked out of the DFB Pokal by Gladbach as well. So it does mean now we've just got the Bundesliga to focus on. And honestly, the way we've been going off the back of the winter break, a little bit better now in our last 4 games compared to what it looked like the 4 prior. But we're not going that well. And honestly, not too sure what our chances of Champions League football here next season are now. So that might make things interesting during the off-season if that is the case. But still, we've got 12 games left in our league season. Our next one is quite big too. We take on Eintracht Frankfurt. So I dare say we'll come back for that tomorrow, as well as Cologne, that one at home, because those are 2 teams who are above us on the table and doing a pretty good job. Those could be quite tricky, especially with our form the way it is here at the moment. But unfortunately, that will do it for today's episode. No more European football off the back of that big bottle job in the second half there in Turin. Couldn't quite turn it around there in Nuremberg. It was for that second leg of that first knockout round in the Champions League. If you enjoyed that one though, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up, on the video. And if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well until tomorrow when we jump back in to Bundesliga action with Eintracht Frankfurt and Cologne. Thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.